Good afternoon. Today is April 26th, and today I'll continue to be talking about the coronavirus. So the first piece of news that I like to talk about is Las Vegas, and it is basically the ground zero for the American job crisis. Nevada's economy has been one of the fastest growing in the country. Then, literally overnight, the Las Vegas Strip shut down and threw thousands of waitresses, bartenders, hotel cleaners, and casino workers out of work, often without benefits, and leaving the most bustling stretch of the state's economy boarded up and empty. So this is extremely shocking, as nearly 350,000 people in Nevada have filed for unemployment since the crisis began, which is the highest number in the history of the state. And the Las Vegas-based economic research firm Applied Analysis estimates that the city's current jobless rate is about 25%, shocking, and is nearly double the rate during the Great Recession, and it is still rising. So I think this is just like an unprecedented shock, and since Las Vegas is so dependent on tourism and hospitality with hotels, restaurants, casinos, it is going to have to face a particular pressure to reopen. The Mayor Goodman argued last week that casinos should reopen allow people to, but the Nevada governor has said that the state was clearly not ready to reopen. So I think from here, this is just it was kind of foreseen in this coronavirus crisis that tourism and these kind of hospitality industries are going to be hit the hardest, and currently Nevada has definitely have been hit. So the second thing that I like to talk about today is that for our first responders, emergency ambulances are mostly made out of volunteers, and many have been missing work or avoiding potential exposure to the coronavirus. So, in rural cities, more than 10% of the volunteer ambulance force has stopped taking shifts, either because these people have tested positive for the virus, or because underlying health conditions have forced them indoors. And obviously, with this virus, there's going to be more people that will be calling the ambulances, and it's almost impossible not to get sick in an ambulance. So with less ambulance workers and more ambulance cases, then I think this is just absolutely devastating. And especially, I personally think that suburbs and rural towns are going to be hit the hardest. So they've already been lacking in testing and hospital equipment, and with the overwhelming hospitals and emergency medical workers, these volunteer emergency response units are really going to be hit the hardest too. So more than 80% of the nation's fire departments are all or mostly volunteer, which are responsible for providing emergency care to about 1/3 of the country's population. So this is just an idea of how far volunteers have taken, and many volunteers here are medical professionals, which are now have to be called back to the hospitals because hospitals are also facing a dire emergency. So I think that, I guess if more people should go volunteer, but on the other hand, if they do volunteer and potentially get sick, that's also a really large toll taken. So the third thing that I'd like to talk about today is that Americans should expect social distancing guidelines to continue all the way through summer. So there's been experts saying this, and personally, I think this is also I've foresaw this, because since the virus is clearly still a very present problem in the United States with hundreds of thousands of infections and so many deaths, I think social distancing was kind of expected for me to last all the way through the summer. But considering that I live in California, it's honestly just the heat's been absolutely taking over, and as a result, I've seen people in Los Angeles who have been just flooding and crowding to beaches. And honestly, that's not a very good idea because, well, they may just undo what we have kept up through the social distancing. And I just hope that everybody sticks together through this summer, through this horrifying year. And as a result, I think we can reopen quicker. So that's it. Thank you for listening, and I hope you have a good day.